Up the pipe!
G'day guys, Nate here. I've seen the recent updates regarding Clayton Oliver and I thought I'd talk about it another time. I've seen the update as well on Brody Mihocek and I think it might be best because I'm recording this on Thursday to talk about Brody Mihocek's future probably tomorrow. That's more of a separate video. Free agency period starts tomorrow, October 3rd. Collingwood's best and fairest count is Friday night, October 3rd. I'll make a video on Saturday just going over the Copeland Trophy winner, best and fairest count, top 5, other awards as well. Again, Sunday, I'll have a massive team review, player analysis, and whatnot. Season summary, or not summary, but season review uploaded on Sunday. That's my most complicated, convoluted, very thorough, meticulous video for the channel in my entire history. So watch this space. This video is just to look back on my season predictions for Collingwood in 2025, what I got right, what I got wrong, bit of a laugh, to be accountable for my own actions and words and predictions and celebrate the ones I got right because I did find a few that were correct and was on the money very specifically as well. Others well off the mark, but it's a good chance just to gloat and go over it and laugh about it. Again, looking back on my season predictions, 20 predictions to be exact. I was half right on some of them, so I'm going to keep track of this. This is also going to be an interesting video in regards to editing this because there'll be a lot of slides and images and whatnot. So just be prepared. No time stamps in this one, so just be more prepared for the moving images and whatnot. The predictions I got right, they're written out here, and what I got wrong. Just getting straight into the predictions I made. So 20 predictions for 2025. My first prediction was I predicted Collingwood would make finals in 2025. 14 wins, though, or 56 premiership points, and be eliminated in the semi finals. And I also elaborated on that at the time and said that the media would call this a fail. What happened in the end was 16 wins and a preliminary final exit. The media not calling this a fail, but obviously disappointed in how we ended our season. So my first prediction was wrong, and for good reason as well. I'm thankful I got this wrong. One step better this year, 16 wins for the home and away season, an extra win in finals, 17 wins to be exact, 8 losses combined. So wrong, my first prediction, exceeding my expectations. Prediction number 2 was I predicted Collingwood would be top 6 for points for, but outside the top 8 for points against. I thought at the time we would score a lot, but concede a lot at the same time. Defensively, we'd just be unaccountable for our defence to be exact. But I thought we'd have a good scoring profile for the entire year with Mihocek, Membry, and McStay alongside Elliott, Bobby Hill, DeGoey, Schultz, McCreary, the Dacos brothers as well. What ended up happening in 2025 was we were 8th for points for, and you can blame Hawthorn, that second loss, well, the second game against Hawthorn, that 64-point loss. But we were the best defensive side in the competition for points against. So I was wrong on this prediction. We were much better defensively, not so much in attack, but that fell apart. So 0 for 2 so far. My third prediction was I predicted Nick Dacos to win the Brownlow medal. Tied or outright, he would win the Brownlow medal and would also be selected for All Australian. What ended up happening was Nick Dacos, yet again, the bridesmaid, never the bride, second in the Brownlow count behind Matt Rowell, but did make All Australian despite being on the bench. So I was half right on this prediction. So 0.5 out of 3. I will take this one. Specific again, but Nick Dacos surely at some point wins the Brownlow medal, and then he can go off to Tasmania for all the money in the world. My fourth prediction, and this is probably my most incorrect prediction this year, was I predicted Bobby Hill to make All Australian and kick 40 plus goals in 2025. What ended up happening was 20 goals from 14 games, 11 games out due to personal reasons and whatever, and not even close to All Australian. I thought Bobby Hill would be the surprise All Australian pick this year. Turns out Jamie Elliott had Bobby Hill's season. So, what could have been for Bobby Hill? Very, very, very wrong on this one. But my first prediction right is coming up. My fifth prediction was Dan Houston would not make the All Australian side, take a backward step this year, adjusting to Collingwood's game plan and style and tactics, but still remain a quality player. Maybe not so much quality because he averaged just under 17 disposals a game, the lowest average count since 2018 for him, and less rebounds since 2020. And that's COVID numbers for Port Adelaide. So I was right on this prediction. Unfortunately, Dan Houston struggling to make an impact, All Australian caliber player, 2-time All Australian across halfback, pretty much cements himself in that position. But Josh Dacos pretty much had Dan Houston's year here. Hopefully, Dan Houston's able to respond. He had a good end of season patch, didn't have a good prelim final despite kicking that decent goal in the second quarter, but hoping for the best for Dan Houston. Hopefully, it's a Lockie Schultz season. This is pretty much why I predicted Dan Houston wouldn't have a good year. I thought of Lockie Schultz at the time, so Dan Houston, I hope he responds next year, have a better year. Not so much in regards to injuries for Lockie Schultz in his second year at Collingwood. If Dan Houston can play 20 plus games next year and average over 20 disposals a game, more rebounds, more efficiency, or be more efficient by foot, he'll be a massive player for us in 2026. Prediction number 6, I predicted Patrick Lipinski would have a career best year in average disposals and also total disposals. Uh, Coming into this season, his best season was 2022, averaging 22.4 disposals a game, a career high season tally of 551 disposals. I was wrong on this prediction. Total of 395 disposals at 17.2 disposals a game on average. But he had a decent year for scoring involvements and inside 50 entries. Can't deny that. But total disposals, average disposals just wasn't there. So I was wrong on this prediction. Prediction number 7 was I predicted the Triple M forward line of Mihocek, McStay, and Membry would combine for 80 plus goals in 2025, finals being included as well. And I was right. 87 goals between them, 36 to Mihocek, 32 to Membry, 19 to McStay, only 2 goals kicked in finals. That was from Tim Membry. So I was right if you didn't include finals. But I think if they all combined for 100 goals this year, we probably would have won the flag. So 87 goals, that's pretty much how I'd rate the season, 8.7 out of 10 for our flag push and our overall season. So I got this prediction right for the Triple M forward line kicking 80 plus goals. Prediction number 8, and I'm on a streak here for correct predictions now. I predicted Jordan De Goey would play less than 20 games this year, and his fitness and his form would be questioned and doubts raised. And that pretty much happened. 11 games this year, only 9 goals scored. Questions were raised, but he had a good end of season patch of form and he got back to his best in the midfield. Just couldn't play well in the prelim final. That was a story for a lot of our players. But Jordan McGoey, 11 games, 13 last year as well. So he needs to improve on this. He needs to be playing close to 20 games a year. He's our second most impactful midfielder at the moment, and he's only playing half a season. So we need to improve on this. My ninth prediction, and I'm happy about this one because it was very specific, but I got this right. I predicted 3 debutants, not club debutants like Perryman or Benbury, but 3 overall AFL debuts at Collingwood. Turned out to be right. 3 debutants: Will Hayes against North Melbourne, Charlie West against West Coast, and Roan Steele, mid-season recruit, debuting against Carlton. So 3 debuts on the money. Oscar Steen, Demartia, Smith, Cochrane all remain without a debut alongside Noah Howe's mid-season recruit. So back to back, or 3 predictions in a row. Triple M forward line, De Goey, and now the debutants. My 10th prediction, and I'm going to be well off from this one. Jacob Bryan, I predicted would play a full AFL game this year. Stuck on 1 game, if you want to be technical, 1 quarter of footy, 2023 against Brisbane. I thought he would come in and replace either Jeremy Howe or Reef McInnes. Boy, I was wrong on that one. No AFL games played. Didn't replace Reef because Reef injured his knee, and Jeremy Howe was injured in the second half of the season. So, well wrong on this one. On to the next one. Another wrong prediction. Prediction number 11. Collingwood would lose a total of 5 games to Carlton, Hawthorn, and Essendon combined. So 2 games against Carlton, 2 against Hawthorn, 1 against Essendon. I thought we would lose all of those games. We only lost 1. I was against Hawthorn, round 22. Thankfully, I was wrong in this one, but again, being accountable here, I'm not too sure why I predicted this. Very negative at the time. I'll make sure to never do this prediction again. Prediction number 12 was I predicted Adelaide would beat us for the first time since 2016, and it happened in round 23. So straightforward, Adelaide broke their losing streak and their duck, their crow, whatever you want to call it, against Collingwood round 23. Luckily for them as well, but we got our win back. So all's fair in the world. We broke Adelaide's spirit. They got knocked down straight sets. They broke our win streak against them, 10 in a row, but it is what it is. On to prediction number 13, and I predicted Collingwood would win 3 interstate games in 2025. And technically, I was on the money. Gabba against Brisbane, Easter Thursday, round night against Freo, Optus Stadium, and the qualifying final against Adelaide at the Adelaide Oval. Now, You can include gather round for this, but we're all congregating in gather round. So 3.5, if you want to be technical, but I'm going to go 3 here. So I was on the money in this one. 3 interstate wins, the Gabba, Optus Stadium, and the Adelaide Oval. Almost could have won up at Gold Coast, got smacked at Giant Stadium. What could have been for other interstate games, but on to the next prediction. Probably my favourite prediction, this one, because I was on the money on this one. Number 14 was I predicted 9 milestone games. Now, to be technical and exact on this, milestone games, not record-breaking games. So side bottom Pendlebury combining for most games played as teammates doesn't count. Crisp breaking the Jim Stein's record doesn't count as a milestone game. What counts as a milestone game was opening round, Jack Crisp 250th, Perryman 150 against Hawthorn, for example. Billy Frampton playing his 50th game for Collingwood doesn't count. I'll go over this because I was correct, by the way. Uh, I predicted 9 milestone games, and it happened to be exact. Crisp 250th opening round. Darcy Cameron 100 against Sydney for gather round. Jamie Elliott 200 against Brisbane round 6. Bobby Hill game 100 against Melbourne King's birthday. Mihocek 150 against West Coast round 16. Perryman 150, as mentioned, against Hawthorn round 22. Side bottom 350th against Hawthorn round 22. Can't believe I have to recollect that one. Membry game 200 against Melbourne round 24. And Josh Dacos game 150 against Adelaide qualifying finals. So that's 9 milestone games there. Missed out on 100 games this year for Bo Bakuri, Oleg Markov. I think Mason Cox missed out on game 150 this year if he didn't play a full season. Little things like that. But yeah, 9 milestone games on the money. Debut games doesn't count as well. So 9 for 9. I won't have something too specific next year. Speaking of Jack Crisp in my previous prediction, my 15th prediction was Jack Crisp would break Jim Stein's all-time record for most VFL AFL games played consecutively, but he would also miss a game later in the season. So I was half right on this prediction. He broke the record, and it still counts as well, 262 games and counting going into 2026, but he still hasn't missed a game. So I was half right on this one. What could have been for Jack Crisp if he kicked the goal after the siren would have just been magical, but fairy tales don't exist. Prediction number 16, quite fitting to name it at number 16, was I predicted Scott Pendlebury would sign on for 1 more year and ultimately break Boomer Harvey's record for most VFL AFL games played in 2026. We'll find out next year. That will be a prediction most likely, but Scott Pendlebury has signed on for 2026, so I was correct on this one. Prediction number 17 was I predicted 4 retirees, and I was very specific on this one because I predicted Jeremy Howe, Mason Cox, Tom Mitchell, and Hoskin Elliott would retire. Pendlebury staying, Sidebottom staying, Mihocek most likely gone, Elliott staying on for 2 years, not 1. But Hoskin Elliott retiring, Cox and Mitchell told to look elsewhere, so they might retire or not. But Jeremy Howe staying on for 1 more year, so I was completely wrong specifically on this one. And it might not be 4 retirees after all, unless you want to count Oleg Markov being delisted. But got to be accountable. Wrong on this one. And prediction number 18. Now, I've got 20 predictions. This is my last prediction that's come to fruition. And this was Braden Maynard would sign a contract extension to stay at Collingwood. And I did predict as well, I don't have this in writing, but I did predict 4 years to stay at Collingwood. And he signed a 4-year deal to stay at Collingwood. So he'll most likely play for Collingwood 200 plus games until the end of his contract deal. Thankfully, that's the case. North Melbourne didn't need him in the first place. Braden Maynard, Collingwood player for life. Now, my last 2 predictions, they're up in the air. I'm going to conclude here that one will be right and one won't be right. Prediction number 19 was Collingwood to get a midfielder in free agency or the trade period and would ultimately become the number 2 midfielder going forward behind Nick Dacos. As of this recording, Thursday, is it Clayton Oliver? Do we take him on? If that's the case, then this prediction's right, but I'm going to predict it won't be the case. And my last prediction was Tom McGuan gets picked up by Collingwood. He will get picked up most likely. The number 34 is vacant for a reason, but he slid down the draft phantom order. He could be rookie drafted the way this is going, but surely Tom McGuan is selected by Collingwood. So I think one of those two will be correct. If we do select a midfielder and it's Clayton Oliver or Zach Merritt or Jai Simpkin, I know, just a number 2 midfielder, then I'll gloat and celebrate and I'll amend this. But from what I can gather from this, it's 10 out of 18 correct, and I think it'll be 11 out of 20 to end the season for me. So basically half right throughout the entire year. Some predictions I was wrong. Glad I was wrong for some of them. Others not so much, like Bobby Hill not having a career best year. Dan Houston falling off, unfortunately. Just little things like that. Some specific ones I wasn't right on, but I've got to be accountable. Got to be spot on this. But next year, I'll make 20 predictions that are sorted by the end of the official season. No trade period or draft rumors and whatnot for next year's predictions. But yeah, that's all for this video. Bit of a laugh, bit of a gloat, bit of a, you know what, whatever. Get to look back and be accountable for my actions and words and responsibilities and whatever. I am sorry for some of these predictions, but good to look back on these and laugh. But that's all for this video. What do you guys think? What were your predictions? What were right? What wasn't right? I'll leave you guys all to it though. Hoping you guys have had a good week so far. Please be well. Please be safe. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Up the pies.
Up the pies!